Hello, everyone. Let's continue our journey. Are you sitting there on a bright sunny day or in your quiet room, and here I am with you in this very space where it's just you and my soft, gentle words? I wonder, have you started to awaken yet? If not, that's perfectly fine. Just keep listening. So, before you know it, take a moment to like the videos and subscribe, but only if you actually like what I do here. And hey, would you mind sharing with me? Where are you listening from and at what time? I'm really curious about that. Now sit quietly, reflect, and together begin the journey of recognition. Have you ever asked yourself, am I missing something? You look around and see people seemingly attracting wealth opportunities and relationships with ease. Meanwhile, you're still struggling. Don't rush to blame yourself. Don't rush to think you're not good enough. There's actually one simple thing, so simple that if you don't recognize it early, you'll always stand outside the doorway to wealth. Scientists are still proving that a person's perception of self-worth can be programmed from a fleeting moment in childhood. Sounds like science fiction, right? But it's actually behavioral psychology. And if someone misses that moment of recognition, they may live their whole life trapped in limiting beliefs. So what is that simple thing? It lies within this question. Do you truly believe you deserve to be wealthy? You let out a quiet breath, and suddenly you realize most of us never stop to ask ourselves that question. We're taught to work hard, save money, and earn, but we're never taught to believe that we actually deserve wealth. Think back to the last time you saw someone win the lottery or land a big business deal. What was your first thought? Must be luck. They probably have connections. Or, that could never happen to me. There's your answer. Let me tell you about a real story I witnessed in a coaching session. A single mom drowning in debt had a breakthrough moment when she realized her self-worth and finally believed she was worthy of receiving money. 3 months later, she signed a contract worth 10 times her previous income. Sounds like a fairy tale. Actually, it's a common occurrence when someone shifts their belief system. It's like standing in front of a door. You either open it or you don't. But once you realize the key is simply believing in yourself, you'll always know how to unlock it. And the surprising part, this happens right now, not tomorrow, not after you become rich. That's why this simple thing makes all the difference. Not because you know more, not because you have degrees, but because you finally recognize your worth. Here's a little joke for you. You don't need to get rich fast. You just need to stop making yourself poor every day. A little known fact, most successful people have a quiet moment where they dare to face this question. They don't go searching for the answer. They become the answer. Imagine this: if you truly believed you deserved wealth, how would you see the world differently? You wouldn't be the one fearing job loss, fearing failure, or fearing lack anymore. You'd be the one boldly facing every opportunity. And don't forget, scientists have emphasized the human brain needs just one conscious decision to trigger a cascade of changes in your nervous system. You don't have to be enough, you just have to recognize it right now. If you're smiling because this sounds too simple, well, that's exactly it. It's so simple you've been overlooking it your whole life. And if you're mumbling, wait, is that all? I'll tease you a little more. Yes, that's all. But it could mean a whole lifetime for you. But hey, don't just listen and move on. Take a real moment and ask yourself, am I limiting myself because of old beliefs? Because you don't need to be perfect. You only need to believe in your worth. And that's when wealth will begin to flow toward you. Do you still remember that moment we talked about earlier? The moment you truly looked at yourself and asked if you might be holding yourself back. Don't skip over it, because right now I want you to take one more step to cross the very first bridge to wealth. Someone once said, wealth doesn't come from a stroke of luck, but from the bridges you've built long before bridges you may not even remember. It sounds poetic, doesn't it? But it's true. And the real question is, have you built any bridges for yourself yet? Behavioral economists have been debating this for years. The tiny decisions you make every day, the ones you think don't matter, are actually what shape your financial destiny. Let me tell you a true story. There was a young man, a barista at a local cafe. Every single day, he would ask customers the same question with a sincere smile. How's your day going? He didn't know that this tiny habit caught the attention of one regular customer who happened to be an investor. One day, that investor asked him, "Would you like to try working in sales?" And just like that, a new door opened, all because of a simple, genuine question he repeated every day. How did this happen? Not by luck, but because each day this young man laid down a first bridge, a small action that built value over time. What about you? Are you quietly building those bridges for yourself, or are you waiting for that big break to finally come? Most people sit around hoping for life's winning lottery ticket, but life doesn't work that way. Life is a chain of small bridges you build each day. A genuine question, an unconditional favor, a thank you said at just the right moment, a smile with no hidden agenda. Those are your very first building blocks. Here's something most people never notice. The human brain tends to underestimate the value of small, repeated actions. That's why we often think, this won't make a difference, but in truth, those tiny actions compound their power over time. You know what's fascinating? When you start taking the right small actions, the world begins to respond. One day your boss, the one you thought never noticed, you might ask you to handle an important task. A client you once thought impossible to please might suddenly offer you a deal. An old friend might call asking you to join a major project. That's the ripple effect of the first bridge. Now take a look back over your past week. How many bridges have you built? Have you ever helped someone without expecting anything in return? Have you ever given a compliment at the perfect time? Have you ever offered help before anyone even asked? Have you ever done something simply because it was the right thing to do? Another fact backed by science, acts of proactive kindness release dopamine, the hormone that boosts happiness and strengthens social bonds. That's why the more you help others, the more opportunities come your way. And just to tease you a little, if you want to win the lottery, you've got to at least buy a ticket, right? So if you want life to hand you opportunities, you have to buy your ticket with daily small actions. You have the power to make today the first day you start building your first bridge. Don't just sit around waiting for a big opportunity. Wealth finds its way to those who aren't afraid to take even the smallest steps. And soon enough, you'll realize every bridge you've ever crossed toward wealth was one you built with your own hands. You'll no longer feel like a passive bystander. You'll feel like the one holding the steering wheel. And trust me, that feeling is priceless. Picture this. Today you share a genuine smile with someone. Tomorrow they remember you. Next week, they introduce you to a friend. A month later, you close a business deal. That chain reaction starts when you dare to take the first action. I know you're probably thinking, could it really be this simple? Well, as I love to joke, if getting rich required climbing Mount Everest, I would have given up a long time ago. But no, It starts with the first few steps, taken every single day. Remember this, and the next time you ask yourself, why hasn't wealth come to me yet? Take a moment and ask instead, how many first bridges have I built? Have you realized it yet? Those first bridges you've started building, small as they may seem, are actually the starting point of your entire life's flow. And as those bridges connect, you begin stepping into what I call the secret of knowing early. You've probably heard the phrase, know early, succeed early. But why? Why is it that people who seem to know before others often end up more successful? Are they just lucky? Do they have some kind of sixth sense, cognitive behavior? Researchers have long debated this. The ability to recognize emerging trends early comes from a proactive mindset combined with a constant willingness to learn. Sounds a bit too academic, doesn't it? But actually, it starts with something incredibly simple. Let me tell you a story. There was a young saleswoman named Lena. Every day, she set aside 15 minutes to read industry news instead of scrolling through social media. She noticed the e-commerce boom coming long before most people. So, when the pandemic hit, she was the first on her team to launch an online store. The result? Within a year, she became the head of the company's online sales division. The amazing part is, she didn't predict the future. She simply chose to look sooner than everyone else. Did you know this? Here's a little-known fact. The human brain has a unique mechanism. Once you consciously focus on something, your brain automatically scans your environment for signals related to it. Let me explain it simply. Have you ever bought a new pair of shoes and suddenly felt like the whole world was wearing the same pair? That's your cognitive filter at work. When you decide to care about something, the world responds. So, when you actively seek out knowledge, learn, and open yourself up to a new field, the opportunities you thought were random actually start showing up because you invited them. Have you ever wondered why some people always seem to see things coming while others miss out? It's because those people simply asked the right questions earlier. I remember attending a seminar once where the speaker asked, how many of you knew back in 2015 that cryptocurrency would be a future trend? Only a few hands went up, and guess what? Many of those people reached financial freedom within a few years. Now, I'm not telling you to jump on every trend, but I do want you to understand this. Only when you're open enough to ask questions early will you become someone who leads instead of someone who merely follows. I like to tease my audience by saying, the market never traps anyone except for those who fall asleep at the wheel. And you know what? That sleep is simply a passive, delayed mindset. Another time, a young man asked me, how do I know what the next big thing will be? And I gently replied, let your curiosity lead the way. Yes, curiosity. It sounds simple, but it's actually a superpower for those who succeed. You'll begin to see that knowers aren't special. They're just the ones who ask questions earlier, experiment sooner, and take action faster. And that's why they earn rewards sooner. Now you might be smiling, thinking this sounds like some conspiracy theory, but no. This is exactly how every big game works. Neuroscientists have even found that when you take action early, your brain releases serotonin, a chemical that boosts excitement and encourages proactive behavior. That's why proactive people succeed more often than those who wait around. And here's something else that might surprise you. When you make knowing early a habit, you'll start feeling joy radiate from it. You'll feel connected. You'll no longer fear being left behind. Are you wondering now, can I really start this right now? Absolutely. And let me add a little joke. You don't need a master's degree in future studies to start being curious. All you need is to start asking. Ask about your field, about the trends you care about the changes happening around you. Don't be surprised if one day people come up to you and say, "How did you know this was coming?" Because by then, you'll be the one who knew early, and that's when wealth starts knocking on your door. Do you still remember the moment when you realized that knowing early is a choice, not a privilege? But even after that realization, many people still fall into a much more subtle trap, one that keeps them stuck on the sidelines of their own lives. This is the invisible trap of delayed thinking. Behavioral psychology researchers continue to debate this. The human brain is hardwired to avoid change because it instinctively seeks short-term safety, even if it means sacrificing long-term success. Let me tell you about my friend Thomas. He always dreamed of opening a small bakery. He had the family recipe. He had financial support. He even had potential customers lined up. And yet, day after day, his favorite lines remained. "I'll do it when the time is right. I should wait until I save a bit more. Maybe next month would be better." 6 years passed. The bakery never happened. What held Thomas back? It wasn't lack of funds. It wasn't lack of ideas. It was his mind stuck in the invisible trap of delayed thinking. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you ever said to yourself, "This is a great idea. I'll do it tomorrow. I really should learn this skill. Maybe next week. Maybe I'll start when things are more certain." And so, life passes by in a whisper of postponements. Here's a detail few people know. Your brain is biologically wired to avoid risks and change because change triggers a built-in survival warning system in your primitive nervous system. In other words, you are the one holding yourself back. Does that strike a chord with you? This invisible trap isn't hiding inside huge decisions. It lurks in every small moment when you hesitate to learn something new, when you second-guess taking a chance, when you avoid reaching out to someone. And here's something I love to joke about. If this invisible trap were a company, it would be the richest business in the world because it profits from millions of abandoned dreams every single day. But would you like to break free from it? Let me share a simple method with you. Whenever you catch yourself about to delay something, ask yourself, will this action help me become wealthier, happier, or open new doors? If the answer is yes, do it within the next 5 minutes. Yes, just 5 minutes. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't wait for the perfect timing. Start with one small action right now. Why? Because when you take immediate action, your brain switches into fight mode, shifting you from passive hesitation to active engagement, and that breaks the cycle of procrastination. Imagine this. If Thomas had just called to inquire about a rental space on the very first day, would his dream still be sitting on a shelf today? And what about you? What might happen if you dared to send that email you've been thinking about, or reached out to that potential partner, or made that phone call? Science backs this up. Studies show that taking action within 5 minutes of having an idea increases the likelihood of following through on it by more than 70%. Are you smiling now because this sounds too simple? Well, that's exactly why most people don't do it. Because simplicity deceives us into thinking it's insignificant. But simplicity is precisely where real power hides. I sometimes tell people in workshops, this trap doesn't need handcuffs to stop you. It only needs you to tie your own hands. So, how do you break free? It's easy. Next time an idea sparks in your mind, act on it before your brain talks you out of it. It doesn't matter how small the step is. Write it down, send a message, make a call, research it online. Don't wait until you feel ready, because here's a hard truth: you'll never feel fully ready. I once asked a successful entrepreneur, "When did you finally feel ready to start?" He laughed and said, "Never. I just started the moment I realized I was afraid enough." Let that sink in. The biggest trap isn't fear of failure, it's the habit of waiting for perfection. So, I challenge you, right after you finish this section, pick one thing you've been putting off and take action on it within 5 minutes. You'll feel something shift. It's like breaking through an invisible glass wall. And yes, let me add one more little tease. Nobody gets handcuffed by fate unless they tie the knots themselves with procrastination. You can untie those knots right now. Want to know the ultimate sign you've fallen into this trap? Here it is. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'll do it tomorrow," that's exactly when you should do it right now. Just one action, and your entire world can change in ways you never expected. Always remember, you are not bound by your circumstances. You are not limited by your abilities. You are only held back by your choice not to act. And only you, yes, you have the power to unlock those chains. Do you remember that first action you once delayed and finally did? What did it feel like? I'm guessing. Once you did it, things started to shift, didn't they? And that's exactly when you stepped onto the awakening journey to receive wealth. Modern cognitive scientists are now showing that a state of mindfulness doesn't just reduce stress, it also enhances your ability to recognize opportunities, sharpens your financial and business decision-making, and opens your mind to new possibilities. Surprised? Most people think wealth is all about money, assets, and big deals. But in reality, wealth begins with something far simpler: awakening. So what is awakening? It's when you stop living like a machine stuck in old routines. It's when you no longer let invisible fears and silent worries control your life. It's when you are fully present right here, right now, and ready to receive what life has been waiting to give you. Ever felt like you were living on autopilot? Wake up, check your phone. Go to work, perform tasks on repeat. Get off work, scroll your feed, complain a bit, kill time, go to bed. Sound familiar? If you're smiling because you see yourself in this, congratulations, you've just opened the door to awakening. There's a fascinating fact most people don't know. When you're truly mindful, your brain emits gamma waves, the highest frequency brain waves associated with heightened awareness, creativity, and deep intuitive connection. In other words, when you awaken, you don't just live more vividly, you actually become sharper at seeing what others miss. Imagine this. You walk into a client meeting, but this time you're not carrying the weight of pressure or desperation to close a deal. You arrive with a mindful, open heart, present, listening, engaged, and then the client opens up and the opportunity presents itself. You enter a business meeting. Instead of rehearsing your speech in your head, you simply listen. And right there, you catch a key insight that everyone else overlooks. You're at a crowded event. Instead of being swept up by noise, you stay centered. And suddenly a chance remark from someone nearby sparks an idea or leads to a new connection. That's when wealth starts finding its way to you. I often joke about it like this. Opportunity isn't a loud girl shouting in the streets. She's the quiet one, whispering to those awake enough to hear her. Are you wondering how to begin this awakening journey? It's simple. No need for 8-hour meditation marathons. No need to retreat to a mountain cave. Just stop right now and breathe. One slow, mindful breath, one single moment of presence. That's awakening. And in that very moment, you step into a new version of yourself, one who observes, recognizes, and takes intentional action. Neuroscientists have even discovered this: people who practice mindfulness regularly make better financial decisions by up to 40% compared to the average person. Surprised by that number? Good. Because you know me, I love to say, if you're mindful enough to doubt it, there's still hope for you. You can start right now with one small action. Put your hand on your chest and ask yourself, am I truly present in my own life? If your answer is no, that's good. It means you've just awakened. If your answer is yes, even better. It means you're ready to welcome wealth with open arms. And trust me, you don't need to change the whole world in one day. You only need to change how you show up in each moment. I've seen people transform their careers by simply being fully present in their daily work. They didn't work harder. They just worked more mindfully. And here's the beautiful part. Wealth comes to you when you stop chasing it like a hunter and start receiving it like an old friend returning home. You may not believe me right away, and that's okay. But I dare you. Try living mindfully for the next 7 days and watch how your world begins to shift. If you're asking yourself now, is this really for me? Then the answer is simple. Wealth always comes to those brave enough to awaken early, and today is the earliest you'll ever have. Now that you've walked this journey with me from realizing the simple truth that makes all the difference, to building your first bridges, to unlocking the secret of knowing early, to breaking free from the invisible trap of delay, and finally stepping into the state of mindful awakening, I want you right now to pause for a moment. No overthinking, no analyzing. Just take a slow breath and feel it. What do you sense? Perhaps something inside you has gently opened up a small spark, but one bright enough to help you see yourself more clearly. Wealth in the end isn't a destination. It's a state of being you choose to live in every single day. A state not for those who chase after it, but for those who are ready to welcome it. It's when you grow quiet enough to hear opportunity's whispers, when you're open enough to build even the smallest bridges, when you're awake enough to see the things others overlook, and then you realize it's not the world that changed. It's you. You changed how you see the world. You're no longer the person waiting for opportunities. You've become the one who creates them by how you live, how you show up, and how you receive each moment. Just like the sun never asks for applause to shine, you never need permission to begin your journey toward abundance. I hope, and I truly believe, you will begin today, right here. Not because I said so, but because deep down you know you're ready. And if one day life's noise makes you forget everything we've shared here, remember this: you are worthy, you are enough, and you've always been ready to receive your abundance. Softly now, let yourself become the living proof of it. Wishing you success in your dreams.